Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi says there is no room for speculation until a final outcome is reached in talks with the U.S. as President Donald Trump seeks revisions to the proposed deal reportedly regarding the Strait of Hormuz and Iran's nuclear program.
Strike in southern Lebanon kills 8 people as Israel intensifies air and ground offensive. Prime Minister Netanyahu vows to further press into Lebanese territory.
Over 55 killed, dozens others wounded in a blast in Myanmar. Rebels controlling the region say it was caused by accidental detonation of mining explosives.
Colombian President Gustavo Petro says he does not accept the election results as the presidential race heads to a June 21st runoff between left-wing and right-wing candidates after Sunday's vote failed to produce an outright winner.
Confirmed Ebola cases in DR Congo rises to 282 following 19 new positive test results. One of 2 patients who arrived in Brazil from African countries with Ebola-like symptoms tests negative for the virus.
Royal challengers have won back-to-back IPL titles after a comprehensive victory over the Gujarat Titans in the final. Virat Kohli stars in the title clash as RCB become just the 3rd franchise to retain the prestigious title.
Rare moon rises over Temple of Poseidon in Greece. The phenomenon refers to the second full moon within the same calendar month. May 1st saw this month's first full moon.
Oil prices climbed more than 2% after Israel intensified military operations in Lebanon against Hezbollah, raising fears of wider West Asian supply disruptions. Investors also worry about delays in reopening the Strait of Hormuz.
Amid a dramatic expansion of Israeli military operations in Lebanon, at least 8 people, including 3 women, have been killed in an Israeli strike on southern Lebanon.
And according to the Lebanese Health Ministry, the attack took place in the town of Deir Zahrani in Nabatea district. 19 people, including 5 children and 6 women, have been wounded in the attack as well.
These strikes comes a day after Israeli troops captured the strategic Beaufort Castle. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu has called the capture a dramatic shift in the campaign against Hezbollah and vowed to push deeper into Lebanon.
I instructed the IDF to expand the maneuver in Lebanon. Our forces crossed the Litani River. They seized controlled areas. They occupied the Beaufort Ridge. And now my instruction is to deepen and expand our grip on the places that were under Hezbollah's control.
The Israeli offensive marks its deepest incursion into Lebanon in over 25 years. Israeli troops have already crossed the Litani River, which runs around 30 kilometers north of the Israel-Lebanon border. The IDF has also declared the area south of the Zahrani River as a combat zone.
Hezbollah is also hitting back at Israel. The Iran-backed militant group said it targeted Israeli forces near the fortress as well as army positions and infrastructure in Shlomi and Nahariya in northern Israel, while air raid sirens blared in the Acre area.
A missile barrage from Lebanon led to an explosion in the sky over Safed in northern Israel.
As the fighting escalates, the United Nations Security Council is likely to hold an emergency meeting over Israel's expansion of its offensive in Lebanon. The meeting has been requested by France, whose President Emmanuel Macron has condemned the escalation in South Lebanon and called for an end to fighting for good.
Despite a US brokered ceasefire since the 17th of April, Israel has intensified bombings in Lebanon, claiming to attack Hezbollah and its strongholds in southern Lebanon. Lebanese health ministry says Israeli attacks have killed more than 3,371 people since the 2nd of March, while millions of Lebanese have been forced to flee their homes.
The Israeli enemy may have reached Beaufort Castle today, but that does not mean we have lost our land. We will return to Nabatea, if not today, then tomorrow. As long as there is resistance, we will return.
Iran and the US, they've been trying to work out a final deal to end the war, but they've been sending proposals back and forth through intermediaries.
They're trying to iron out the details, and reports now from American publications say that U.S. President Donald Trump sent back a tougher offer to Iran in response to Tehran's latest proposal.
Iran's parliament speaker and chief negotiator Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf appeared on Iranian state television to make a statement on the latest developments. He said that Tehran would not accept any American offer unless it was certain that the rights of the Iranian people were upheld. Ghalibaf added that the Iranian negotiators did not trust any promises made by the US.
The soldiers on the diplomatic front have absolutely no trust in the enemy's words and promises. Our only criteria is to achieve tangible results before we fulfill our commitments in return. Until we are certain that the rights of the Iranian people have been secured, we will not approve any agreement. The guarantee behind this strategy is our own lives, which we hold in our hands, ready to sacrifice for the people of Iran.
The U.S. and Israel launched their war on Iran on 28th of February. There has been a temporary ceasefire since 8th of April, but the war has not officially ended. Negotiators from Iran and the U.S. have failed to see eye on eye on several issues, most notably Iran's nuclear program.
During an interview with his daughter-in-law Lara Trump on Saturday night, U.S. President Donald Trump said that Iran had already agreed to never make nuclear weapons. Trump said that no nukes was one guarantee that he had to have, and Iran had agreed, which he found interesting. However, Iran has consistently maintained that any negotiations about its nuclear program will come after a deal to end the war.
Now, Trump has also admitted that the United States should not have started the war on Iran, as he compared the more than 3-month conflict with the U.S. war on Iraq, which lasted more than 8 years. But then the U.S. president then went on to justify the current war by claiming that if the U.S. did not attack Iran first in June last year, Tehran would have had a nuclear bomb by now, and that Israel wouldn't have continued to exist. A highly contagious stomach virus is spreading across large parts of the United States.
This is with health experts warning of rising norovirus activity from coast to coast, often called the winter vomiting disease. Cases have been found in many parts of the country, with several hikers and travelers being affected. Wastewater surveillance data shows that elevated levels of the virus in several regions, particularly in the Northeast.
And according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, more than 1,100 norovirus outbreaks were recorded between August 2025 and early May 2026. Scientists say several strains of the virus are currently circulating, with the newer G2.17 strain being the dominant variant in the United States, responsible for about 75% of outbreaks.
Although norovirus is often associated with winter months, experts say outbreaks frequently continue into late spring. Increased travel, crowded public spaces, and person-to-person contact can accelerate transmission. Doctors say good hygiene remains the best defense. Frequent hand washing with soap and water, disinfecting contaminated surfaces, and avoiding close contact with infected individuals can help reduce the risk of infection.
Health officials add that while most people recover within a few days, young children, older adults, and those with weakened immune systems face a greater risk of complications from dehydration.
Colombia is headed for a presidential runoff later this month after no candidate secured the majority needed to win outright.
In the first round of voting that happened, and now leading the race is tough-on-crime lawyer Abelardo de la Espriella, a political newcomer known as El Tigre. De la Espriella has sought to align himself with the law and order approach of U.S. President Donald Trump. He campaigned on a promise to crack down on criminal groups and emerged as the top vote-getter with nearly 44% of the vote. However, he fell short of the 50% thresholds required to secure victory in the first round.
More than 10 million Colombians placed their trust in the tiger. They joined the pack. We are going to the runoff to defeat tyranny, absolutism. In 21 days, we are going to change Colombia's history forever.
The supporters of De la Espriella celebrated the result at his campaign headquarters in the coastal city of Barranquilla. His opponent in the runoff will be Progressive Senator Ivan Cepeda, a close ally of outgoing President Gustavo Petro. Cepeda secured just under 41% of the vote. He has pledged to continue the government's ambitious Total Peace initiative, which seeks to reduce violence through negotiations with armed groups.
Today we got 10 million badly counted votes in Colombia. We are without a doubt the main political force.
Centrist candidate Paloma Valencia, representing Colombia's traditional establishment political forces, finished a distant third with less than 7% of the vote.
Illegal groups who benefit from total peace have pressured Colombians in many regions of the country, ordering them to vote for Ivan Cepeda. I am infinitely grateful to Colombia. Being a presidential candidate and becoming the most voted woman in Colombia is a source of pride and an enormous responsibility toward Colombians. Thanks to all who have believed in this cause.
In a significant development following the vote, President Petro rejected the election results, alleging that the outcome had been manipulated by outside actors. He did not provide evidence to support those allegations.
The allegation reflects a broader political shift taking place across Latin America. Increasingly, voters are moving away from leaders who advocate progressive policies aimed at addressing corruption, inequality, and the lack of opportunities for young people. Instead, many are turning towards candidates who promise tougher law enforcement measures and aggressive action against crime.
Well, the election is being widely viewed as a referendum on the policies of President Petro and comes 10 years after Colombia signed its historic peace agreement with the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia, or FARC, a landmark accord that sought to bring an end to decades of armed conflict.
And shifting our focus, the war in Ukraine is entering a more dangerous phase as drones strike deeper, missiles fly in greater numbers, and nuclear plant becomes latest flashpoint.
There's been a chilling warning from Russia's former president, Dmitry Medvedev. He said that in the event of a disaster at the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant, Russia may respond with strikes at nuclear power plants in NATO countries involved in this conflict. This next report brings you more details.
The sky over Ukraine is on fire again. Explosions rip through cities. Air raid sirens echo through the night. Missiles scream across the horizon. Drones swarm the skies, and the numbers are staggering. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says that in just 1 week, Russia launched more than 2,300 attack drones, nearly 1,560 guided aerial bombs, and 108 missiles of different types. The latest Russian strikes hit Dnipro. Civilians once again found themselves caught under a barrage of drones and missiles. Then came another flashpoint, the Russian-controlled Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. Moscow claims a Ukrainian drone struck a turbine building at Europe's largest nuclear facility, leaving a hole in the wall. Kyiv rejects that claim. The IAEA has expressed concern and sought access to inspect the site. Former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev has issued a stark warning that any catastrophic damage to a nuclear facility could trigger a new Chernobyl, and warned that Russia could respond with strikes on Ukrainian nuclear plants and even nuclear facilities in NATO countries involved in the conflict. Russian forces captured the plant in the early weeks of the war, and it remains close to the front lines in the southern Zaporizhzhia region. While Ukraine denies targeting the nuclear power plant, it is hitting back hard against Russian targets. Deep drone strikes are now reaching Russian energy infrastructure. Recent attacks targeted energy sites including the Saratov oil refinery, a fuel depot in Rostov, and a pumping station linked to Russia's oil network. Ukraine's strategy is clear: strike the fuel that powers the Russian military. Ukraine has pounded Russian oil facilities and manufacturing plants with its domestically produced drones.
This is a key opportunity to turn the tide in the war. As we have seen, especially recently, this is the main trump card, the main card of Ukraine in our rebuff of this aggression. We understand not only these, but all the other drones that will be launched today, which are launched every night, have given us the opportunity for an asymmetric response to the horror that we have been receiving for the 5th year.
Zelensky has urged the United States to provide more ammunition for its Patriot air defense systems to counter Russian strikes. Talks to end more than 4 years of war between Russia and Ukraine have been deadlocked, sidelined by the Iran conflict. Bureau Report, WION. World is One.
Thousands poured onto the streets across France following Paris Saint-Germain's Champions League final victory. It was complete chaos.
And with this chaos, police has arrested over 700 nationwide. And a PSG victory celebrations turned violent, and French Interior Minister described the unrest as absolutely unacceptable. Here's a report on it. Take a look.
When we did it last year, I was really happy, but this year, it feels truly special, because as far as back-to-back titles go, aside from Real Madrid this decade, no one else has done it.
Now we want 3, 4, 5 if possible. We'll go for all the possible records. We're capable of it now.
Democratic Republic of Congo has reported a further rise in Ebola infections with 19 new positive test results.
It has now pushed the total number of confirmed cases to 282, according to data released by the Communications Ministry. Ituri Province accounts for 264 confirmed cases, while North Kivu Province has reported 15 cases and South Kivu Province 3. Authorities say the confirmed cases include 42 deaths.
In Brazil, 2 patients who recently arrived from African countries have been placed in isolation after showing symptoms associated with Ebola. Officials say one of the 2 later tested negative for the virus. Meanwhile, World Health Organization Director General Tedros visited an Ebola treatment center in Bunia as health authorities and international agencies continue efforts to contain the outbreak.
Everyone should take care of himself or herself and take care of each other as well. By doing that, we can stop this outbreak as soon as possible. But I'm really happy to visit this facility. It's ready now to receive patients suspected or confirmed. And I know they will help people to really recover and go back to their lives.
No vaccine or specific treatment exists for the Bunibuyo strain of Ebola, which is behind the current outbreak. And the medical charity Doctors Without Borders have said that there has never been an outbreak which recorded these many cases in the first days after it being declared. However, CDC Africa has assured that a vaccine should be ready by the end of the year.
Well, the outbreak continues to pose a major public health challenge. The Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention say more than 1,000 suspected Ebola cases have already been recorded in the Democratic Republic of Congo since the outbreak was declared on the 15th of May. Nearly 250 deaths have been reported among those suspected cases.
Ebola, which spreads through close contact and bodily fluids, has killed more than 15,000 people in Africa over the past 50 years. The deadliest outbreak in the DR Congo claimed nearly 2,300 lives out of 3,500 cases between 2018 and 2020. All right, it's time for a very short break on World DNA. And before we go, here is a look at images that have been drawing attention from across the world. Do stay tuned. You're watching Beyond World this one.
Elections, alliances, controversies, and power play. Stories that analyze global and domestic politics. A dedicated show with varied perspectives, expert take, citizens' voices, detailed ground reports, and in-depth coverage from political corridors of the world. This is Race to Power, only on WION.
In this rapidly changing world, is your health keeping pace? Best practices and breakthroughs busting the hype with real insights. The timeless power of yoga and ancient healing. Good food, good mood. Small steps, big impact. Your health matters. Only on WION World is One. Because nothing matters more.
WION asks what matters. The question the world wanted answered.
We're having a lot of racist comments coming from the United States against Indian Americans. So this would against the peace provides between the US relationship. What's your take on that?
Look, I'm sure that there are people that have made comments online and other places because every country in the world has stupid people. I'm sure there are stupid people here. There are stupid people in the United States that make dumb comments.
One question, one exchange, global reactions. When WION asks, the world follows. Get the WION edge.
WION, India's global voice. The channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION, World is One.
In-depth coverage of global issues broken down into facts, figures and simple words. Backed with analysis from field experts who truly matter, because we believe in decoding the real picture for you. So you get a much wider and deeper understanding of stories from around the world, a 360-degree analysis. An award-winning documentary series, week after week creating the maximum impact. Watch WION Wide Angle at these times on WION, World is One. Where darkness hides behind every corner. Where the truth is stranger than fiction. A show that dives deep into the stories which shock and mystify. Unsolved murders. Psychopaths who defy explanation. International war crimes. And millions swindled in financial fraud. The victims, the accused, and the sinister plot. Crime is your front row seat to darkness.
Vielleicht nur als Impostanz.
Welcome back, viewers. You're watching World DNA with Jyotsna. I'm Shivan. Let's start with the headlines at this hour.
Iranian government denies reports of President Masoud Pezeshkian's resignation, says administration stands by people in hard times.
French President Emmanuel Macron says nothing justifies the major escalation underway in South Lebanon as Israeli forces push deeper into the country in a renewed offensive against Hezbollah.
Romania says Russian drone behind apartment block strike that injured 2 sites of technical evidence.
Colombian President Gustavo Petro says he does not accept the election results as the presidential race heads to a June 21st runoff between left-wing and right-wing candidates after Sunday's vote failed to produce an outright winner.
Over 55 killed, dozens others wounded in a blast in Myanmar. Rebels controlling the region say it was caused by accidental detonation of mining explosives.
West Bengal Chief Minister Suvendu Adhikari to induct 35 more ministers into the state government at an oath-taking ceremony today.
Royal challengers have won back-to-back IPL titles after a comprehensive victory over the Gujarat Titans in the final. Virat Kohli starts in the title clash as RCB becomes just the third franchise to retain the prestigious title.
Indian Oil has increased the price of a 19 kg commercial LPG cylinder from June 1st by 42 rupees to 3,113.5 rupees in Delhi and by 53.5 rupees in Kolkata to 3,255.5 rupees. The hike adds to cost pressures faced by restaurants, hotels, caterers and small businesses.
Cyprus and Bangladesh are locked in a contest to lead the United Nations General Assembly for its 81st session.
Well, the election for the UNGA presidency is scheduled for tomorrow and the winner will assume office when the session opens in September. The president of the UNGA is the chief presiding officer of the world's largest multilateral forum. While the role is largely procedural, the chair carries considerable convening power and moral authority. He sets the tone. The president will set the tone for the annual session, organizes high-level thematic debates, appoints committee chairs and works behind the scenes to forge consensus on divisive issues.
After the withdrawal of Palestinian candidate Riyad Mansour, the contest has come down to a close contest between Cyprus and Bangladesh. From Cyprus, second-season diplomat Andras Eskakouris is in the race, a former ambassador to the US, the UK and other countries. He has deep institutional knowledge of the UN. His vision, that I'm quoting right here, our home, our future, our responsibility, stresses on practical multilateralism, restoring trust in the UN and prioritizing peace, climate resilience and ocean governance.
Facing off against the Cypriot diplomat is Bangladesh's Foreign Minister Khalilur Rahman, a former senior official in the UN Secretariat and UNCTAD. He has represented Bangladesh at the General Assembly since the 1980s. Rahman has proposed a 6-pillar vision aimed at ensuring global peace and equity. He has promised to focus on silencing guns, accelerating sustainable development goals, climate justice and human rights.
Bangladesh is banking on its massive footprint in UN peacekeeping and its leadership role as a previous UNGA president in 1986 to secure blocks of votes from developing nations and the Asia-Pacific group, while Cyprus is framing itself as a neutral bridge builder that has never held the UNGA presidency before, appealing heavily to small and vulnerable island states. The winner will be decided tomorrow at the UN headquarters when the 193 member states cast their votes.
And Nepal Prime Minister Balendra Shah has pushed for peaceful talks with India.
Shah says his government would seek to resolve border disputes with India through dialogue and diplomacy, reaffirming Kathmandu's commitment to maintaining constructive ties with New Delhi.
The Nepali Prime Minister, who addressed the country's parliament for the first time since assuming office after the March elections, even surprised many when he admitted mutual encroachments along the India-Nepal border. Listen to this.
You may find this surprising. I recently learned after becoming Prime Minister that not only India has encroached on Nepal's territory, but Nepal has also encroached on some areas of India. Hence, as two friendly nations, We have decided to take this forward through diplomatic channels.
Now, referring to Nepal's claim over the Lippo Lake, Limpiadhura and Kalapani region, the Nepal Prime Minister said Kathmandu has already raised the matter with New Delhi, adding that the issues will be resolved through diplomatic efforts.
He also added that Nepal had engaged not only with India and China but also raised the matter with the UK government, arguing that the dispute dates back to the colonial period.
Regarding the Lipulek issue, Nepal has officially conveyed its position to India through a diplomatic note, and we have also received a response too. In the exchange, both countries have agreed to resolve the issue by involving historians and border experts.
However, shortly after his address, the Foreign Ministry of Nepal has issued a statement. It says PM's remarks regarding Indian land is encroached by Nepal refers strictly to technical realities arising from the fixed boundary principle, which is applied to shifting river borders that has led to the cases of cross-border land cultivation and occupation by citizens of both nations.
Shah's comments come as India and China accelerate bilateral activities, including resumption of the Kailash Mansarovar Yatra via the Lippo Lake Pass, which has irked Nepal.
The two countries have long-standing differences over certain boundary areas, particularly the Kalapani Limpiadhura Lippo Lake region in the west and Susta in the south.
Tensions intensified in 2020 after India inaugurated a road connecting Dharchula in Uttarakhand to Lippo Lake Pass, a route used for the Kailash Mansarovar pilgrimage. Nepal subsequently released a revised political map incorporating Kalapani, Lippo Lake and Limpiadhura within its territory and later endorsed it through a constitutional amendment as well.
India has repeatedly rejected Nepal's claims over the territories. Earlier, in a response to Nepal's claims related to border issues, External Affairs Ministry spokesperson Randeep Jaiswal had said India's position on the matter has been consistent and clear. He added that Nepal's unilateral artificial enlargement of territorial claims is untenable.
And a major expansion of the West Bengal government is set to take place today, with Chief Minister Suvendu Adhikari announcing that 35 new ministers will be inducted into the state cabinet.
And the oath-taking ceremony will be held at Lok Bhavan at around 11 a.m. local time, where Governor R.N. Ravi will administer the oath of office to the new ministers.
The cabinet expansion comes less than a month after Adhikari assumed office as Chief Minister following BJP's sweeping victory in West Bengal Assembly elections. Suvendu Adhikari was sworn in on the 9th of May, ending the Trinamool Congress' 15-year rule in the state.
Along with him, 4 ministers were sworn in during the first phase of the government formation, and these include Agnimitra Paul, Nisit Pramanik, Ashok Kritania, and Shudiram Tudu. Today's cabinet expansion is expected to give the new administration a complete ministerial structure to carry forward its governance agenda.
Meanwhile, the State Council has approved the formation of 2 commissions aimed at addressing institutional corruption and atrocities against women. Both bodies will begin functioning from today.
According to the CM, the Commission Against Institutional Corruption will be headed by retired Calcutta High Court Justice Biswajit Basu. A separate commission on atrocities against women will be chaired by retired Justice Samti Chatterjee. After weeks of denial, the Central Board of Secondary Education, or CBSE, has finally acknowledged vulnerabilities in its digital platform.
And this is the digital platform used for evaluating class 10th and 12th answer sheets. The CBSE broke its silence on the controversy around the on-screen marking issue in a response to concerns that have been raised publicly. The board stated on X that it is actively monitoring vulnerabilities found in the OSM portal managed by its service provider.
According to the board, cybersecurity professionals from different government agencies and the IITs have been deployed over the past few days to secure the system and move it to a safer setup. CBSE has thanked citizens and ethical hackers who flagged potential security issues in the system.
Now, there has been a massive row over the process and gaps being pointed out by several students and parents post the results, including claims by some that supplementary sheets or awarded marks were missing from the records available to them. The latest development comes just days after the board had denied any security issues on the 28th of May.
The disclosures by students and ethical hackers have fueled a wider debate over the security, transparency, and oversight of CBSE's technology systems, with the board now saying corrective measures are being implemented to strengthen safeguards.
The Chinese military conducts patrols near the disputed Scarborough Shoal in the South China Sea.
It is furthering tensions with the Philippines, which completed maritime exercises with the U.S. The Chinese state media reported the People's Liberation Army Southern Theater Command has organized the patrols across territorial waters, airspace, and surrounding areas of the shoal, which Beijing refers to as Huangyan Dao.
However, Manila has dismissed Beijing's claims of active tactical exercises in the area as quote-unquote completely unfounded. The development comes following a 5-day joint maritime exercise by Philippine and U.S. forces near the same waters from the 26th to the 30th of May. The latest exchange underscores the continuing territorial dispute between the two countries over the strategically important waterway.
Earlier, Beijing described the drills as a countermeasure against perceived violations of its maritime claims. However, Manila rejected the claims, stating that while Chinese vessels are present in the area, no actual military drills are underway.
Meanwhile, Philippine Defense Secretary Gilberto Teodoro strongly rejected China's accusations that Japan is pursuing new militarism. Speaking at the Shangri-La Dialogue Security Summit in Singapore, the Philippine Defense Chief called such claims unfair and an improper use of history.
So perhaps the problem does not lie within ASEAN. The problem lies with the counterparty to the code of conduct. And because with that counterparty, namely China, the claimant states of ASEAN, 4 claimant states, have different issues.
His remarks come as the Philippines and Japan strengthen defense ties amid rising security challenges in the Indo-Pacific. Teodoro also praised Japan as a responsible member of the international community. He stressed the need to safeguard peace, stability, and maritime freedom across Southeast Asia in the Indo-Pacific region.
Remarks from First Minister Koizumi to be.
There's been a fresh escalation of tensions between Taipei and Beijing.
Taiwan has condemned China's expulsion of a New York Times journalist over an interview that the US-based newspaper conducted with Taiwan's President Lai Ching-te. Now, according to the New York Times, its reporter Vivian Wang was expelled by China in February. The paper cited an explanation from Chinese officials that it was in response to a December video interview with Lai. The NYT added that Wang did not take part in the interview.
In response, Taiwan's presidential office spokesperson said it was standard practice for Lai to take interviews and explain the government's stance to the world.
Taiwan's presidential office spokesperson said, I quote her here, China's use of groundless pretexts and crude methods to threaten the media and interfere with press freedom not only fails to improve its international image, but also highlights that today's China is indeed a source of instability, quote unquote.
The development highlights China's increasing tensions with Taiwan's government led by Lai, whom China has labeled as a separatist, as well as challenges faced by foreign correspondents in China. Foreign reporters in China are generally granted only a one-year visa, which must be renewed annually and can be revoked at any time.
Well, China claims Taiwan as its territory and has not ruled out taking it by force. Meanwhile, the US has long supported Taiwan and is bound by law to provide it with a means of self-defense. But the US has balanced this with maintaining diplomatic relations with China as well.
However, following his recent trip to China, U.S. President Donald Trump suggested that both Taiwan and China should, I'm quoting here, cool it regarding escalating tensions. Well, Trump also stated that he had not made a decision on pending weapon sales to Taiwan, leaving it as a good negotiating chip during his summit with Chinese President Xi Jinping.
Over 55 people have been killed in an explosion at a building in northeastern Myanmar.
It was reportedly storing explosives for mining. Around 70 people have been injured in the blast that occurred in rebel-held territory in the country's north. The rebels say that explosives were being stored for mining operations, but they detonated accidentally. The blast took place in the rebel-held village of Kwangtup, the area located about 3 kilometers south of the Chinese border. It is under the control of Taang National Liberation Army and an ethnic armed group.
Well, the Taang National Liberation Army, TNLA, said in a statement released on its Telegram channel that Gelignit has been stored by the group's economic department for use in mining and stone quarrying sites. They are one of the many factions fighting against Myanmar's government as the civil war rages on in the country. The war began after a military coup led by current President Min Aung Hlaing.
An investigation into the cause of the explosion is now underway. The ignite is widely used in mining and rock blasting, but can become highly unstable over time if it is poorly stored.
Myanmar has been in turmoil since the army seized power from the elected government of Aung San Suu Kyi in February of 2021, triggering widespread popular opposition. After peaceful demonstrations were put down with lethal force, many opponents of military rule took up arms and large parts of the country are now embroiled in conflict.
America's financial wealth has hit a record. Bank of America says the total value of U.S. private sector financial assets is now at an all-time high.
And this is relative to the size of the economy. Financial assets on Wall Street are now worth 6.5 times U.S. GDP, and that is a new record, and it is far above where things used to be. Go back 30 to 40 years before globalization, before deregulation in the 1980s and early 1990s, and this ratio sat between 2.5 and 3.5 times the GDP. Today, it is nearly double that upper limit. We're talking about stocks, bonds, cash deposits, loans, private equity, and pension funds. All of it combined, the number is staggering.
Now, what it tells us is two things. First, the U.S. economy has become deeply financialized. Financial markets are now a dominant force, far bigger relative to the real economy than ever before.
And second is wealth inequality is extreme. Financial assets are not evenly distributed. They are concentrated at the top when Wall Street grows faster than the broader economy. Those who own assets get richer. Everyone else largely does not.
The deregulation wave of the Reagan era opened the gates. Globalization supercharged financial flows. And decades later, the result is clear. Wall Street has grown far beyond Main Street.
Well, Bank of America's data is not just a market statistic. It is a portrait of modern America, where financial wealth has ballooned, productivity gains have flowed upwards, and the gap between asset owners and wage earners has widened to historic levels. The mountain of money keeps growing. The question is, who does it really belong to? FPV, or first-person view drone racing, is a fast-growing sport that tests pilot speed.
It also tests its reflexes and precision. Unlike regular camera drones, FPV drones are flown using VR goggles, allowing pilots to control them through a live first-person view with extreme agility. In Ukraine, competitive FPV training is also being used to help sharpen real-world battlefield operations. Here's a report on it. Take a look.
FPV drone racing has emerged as a high-speed competitive sport that tests precision flying at extreme velocity, where pilots see the world only through a live camera feed in their VR glasses and push machines through tight gates at blistering velocity. Every turn, every second, decided in real time, with nothing but reflex and instinct. What started as a competitive tech discipline has now become one of the sharpest skill sets in modern drone operation. But in Ukraine, that skill has taken on a far more serious role. Ukraine's most skilled military drone pilots have taken part in a unique competition this week, not against Russia, but against each other, competing for advanced drone systems and battlefield-ready equipment. The competition, held in open fields outside the spa town of Truskovets, brought together pilots from multiple military units and drone manufacturers working directly with frontline systems. The event, known as Wild Drones, brought together some of Ukraine's most skilled military drone operators for a high-intensity test of speed and precision. The event included a series of controlled scenarios where operators had to navigate complex courses, maintain stability under high speed, and complete target-based precision maneuvers using first-person view systems. Pilots were tested on their ability to execute fast-turning flight patterns, hit designated visual markers, and adjust control in real time under pressure. The event focused on precision flying, control, and speed, giving operators a chance to test their skills outside combat conditions. It also created a direct link between drone operators and developers, allowing real-time feedback to improve system design and performance. Many units remain in constant contact with manufacturers, as drone systems are being updated and replaced at a rapid pace to match frontline demands.
And over to sports now. Royal Challengers Bengaluru have won back-to-back IPL titles after beating the Gujarat Titans in the final.
Well, RCB become just the third franchise after Mumbai Indians and Chennai Super Kings to retain the prestigious title. RCB won the toss. They opted to field first at the Narendra Modi Stadium in Ahmedabad. That decision paid dividends early on and set the platform for a brilliant all-round display. Captain Shubman Gill and Sai Sudarshan, who had outstanding campaigns for Gujarat Titans, but both fell early on. Washington Sundar scored a half-century for Gujarat and helped rebuild the innings. He stayed unbeaten till the end and ensured that Gujarat reached a respectable 155 for 8 after 20 overs. But other than Washington, no batter scored more than 20.
The chase wasn't a problem for RCB at all. Venkatesh Iyer and Virat Kohli gave RCB the perfect start. Iyer did his job and scored 32 off 16 balls, but it was Virat Kohli who once again proved his worth. The former India captain scored an unbeaten 75 from 42 deliveries to take RCB home with 12 balls to spare. RCB waited 17 years to win a maiden IPL title, and now they have won 2 in as many years.
Well, the weekend's Hollywood box office report highlights a massive victory for micro-budget indie thrillers over traditional big-budget franchises fare.
Director Kane Parsons' micro-budget thriller Backrooms dominated its opening weekend, taking the top spot with a record-breaking $81 million domestically from 3,442 theaters. Directed by the 20-year-old YouTube creator, the film has already accumulated $118 million globally. The internet-born psychological thriller claimed the title for the biggest debut in history for both an original horror film and a first-time director.
Well, defying all conventional box office logic, director Curry Barker's breakout hit Obsession saw ticket sales jump 10% in its third weekend. The movie earned $26.4 million. It has now crossed the $100 million threshold in North America and boasts a stellar $148 million globally.
Well, next up, director Jon Favreau's Star Wars spin-off, The Mandalorian and Grogu suffered a severe 70% drop in ticket sales. The movie earned $25 million this weekend, and the movie has collected $246.6 million globally.
Director David Frankel's highly anticipated legacy sequel, The Devil Wears Prada 2, remains a massive commercial juggernaut, reuniting Meryl Streep and Anne Hathaway. The fashion comedy has shown incredible legs since its debut earlier in May. The $100 million sequel has earned an outstanding $641.5 million globally.
Well, rounding out the major Holdovers in the sixth weekend is director Antoine Fuqua's Michael Jackson biopic Michael, which continues to show exceptional staying power. The movie earned $11.7 million over the weekend. Globally, the movie has earned $851.3 million. It is now rapidly closing in on the $911 million record held by Bohemian Rhapsody to become the highest grossing musical biopic of all time. And with that, we color up to World DNA for today. News and updates will follow on the other side. You're watching WION World this month. Do stay tuned.
In this rapidly changing world, is your health keeping pace? Best practices and breakthroughs busting the hype with real insights. The timeless power of yoga and ancient healing. Good food, good mood. Small steps, big impact. Your health matters. Only on WION World is One. Because nothing matters more.
WION asks what matters. The question the world wanted answered.
We're having a lot of racist comments coming from the United States against Indian Americans. So this would at least still be supervised by India-US relations. What's your take on that?
Look, I'm sure that there are people that have made